What the?
Jordan?
Well, don't just stare at me. Come on, you got places to be.
Kaiser's ghoul coming to your aid, of all people. Ain't that rich? He's accompanied by a few hooded figures, but none of them look familiar. They all disperse, some of them running toward the nearby park, others getting into cars and driving away. You follow your companion onto a street in North Bronx. The van has crashed into another car, and from the looks of him, you're guessing Jackie was the driver. He takes you into a side alley.
Okay, stay low. Kaiser's almost here to pick you up. If we're lucky, he gets here before the SI fucks send a squad over.
Wait, he's stuck in Inquisition? What did it have to do with anything?
That van I broke you out of? A covert SI transport they threw you in after raiding your place 2 nights back. No idea where they're taking you out. Kaiser said it wasn't good and decided to break you out.
Wait, how did SI know where I lived?
Not for me, not much I can tell you. Listen, the boss doesn't tell me anything I don't need to know. And really, I'm fine that way. So, if you have any questions, why don't you wait until...
Jackie's phone rings. The ringtone is a dramatic, Phantom of the Opera-esque organ motif. He takes the phone from his jacket and takes the call.
Yeah, boss. In an alley, close by. Okay, we're going.
He motions for you to follow and takes you out through a side path between the buildings where Kaiser's limo is already waiting for you. The open rear door, as always, invites you inside. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief until now. Jackie climbs in after you and closes the door. The car takes off.
Hey, fledgling. Miss me?
Damn it, Kaiser. What's the deal? What's your angle in this?
Oh, you wound me, Eric. Is it that hard to believe I'd do something out of the goodness of my heart?
He momentarily startles you with his horrible laugh.
Nah, I don't blame you. You are here now only thanks to me. I want to make that crystal clear. That van you were in, a one-way ticket to Hurtville, Pennsylvania. I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me. Big.
How the hell did you know that SI broke into my haven and took me away?
Is that a piss-poor attempt at an insult, fledgling? I've kept eyes on you ever since that little job you did for me in Nolita. You know, in case I needed you for something else. I had to know your comings and goings. I have a good idea of why the SI hit you, Eric. Not that there aren't tons of good reasons for it. It might have been one of these, for instance.
The screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them is now showing a short-looped clip. It's you getting into a fight, beating, using one of your powers.
You haven't exactly kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it. You're new to this. You didn't know better, yada yada yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said though, I don't think any one of these did you in. Slip-ups happen. The reason I need you walking and talking, Eric, is to test a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you were tasked to do. So, first things first. here.
He hands you a phone. The number has already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who is this?
Kaiser, what the hell?
Eric? It's you? Are you okay? What are you doing with that creep?
Hemper, or I cut the line and the fledgling's throat. Come on, Eric, spit it out.
Kaiser's they moved in second Inquisition, Sophie. Only got out because of him.
Sigh? That's what I feared. Listen, the plan. We need to do it. Tonight. But if the Inquisition is involved, and you broke out, they'll be looking for you. So we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but... Kaiser, are you still listening?
Would I tell you if I wasn't?
Eric, call this number from where you visited before last we spoke. I'll come pick you up. She hangs up.
And that's that. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop, Eric, is right about here.
The car comes to a stop and the door opens. Outside, you see the street leading to Solids and Stripes, Torque's pool pub.
Well, you need me to kick you out?
How the fuck do you know about my visit to here nights ago?
Ach du Lieber. I might have mentioned before that knowing shit is kind of my business. Plus, you didn't exactly make it much of a secret now, did you? The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight. And if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you've got.
You step out of the car and make your way to the bar. The door closes behind you, and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. The Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar screen. You asked to use the phone and called Sophie first. Yes?
I'm at the bar.
Good. We'll be there in 15 minutes. If Torque's not there, notify him. We need to move, and fast. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque, just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged.
Gordon.
The owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting?
No thanks.
Bartender nods politely and gets back to his business. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later, without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the bleary-eyed Pate's shoulder and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh.
Marty, how's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Well, Eric, I believe you wanted me here for a reason. Let's hear it.
You're about to tell him what brought you here when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in, all splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartender's. Torque isn't happy with the sight.
Well, this isn't what we agreed on, Eric. Care to explain?
Gordon, meet Sophie.
And pleasure to make your acquaintance. I believe Eric already told you why I'm here.
Not in any detail, and the circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different. So, Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick out your little protege while I'm at it.
You'll like what I have to say.
Yeah, I've heard that line 100 times, but 99 of those ended up with somebody getting hurt. And that's not something I'm in the mood for tonight.
We're wasting time. There's a unique opportunity we should take advantage of, and we only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will be time to act. My driver is waiting outside.
Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Eric who is supposed to do the driving, not your servant.
Both serve me, so really it's of little difference. The circumstances changed and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk.
I'll stop you right there.
Torque is seething, but he's keeping a lid on his anger. His voice barely changes.
My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each one of them. I see no reason at all to agree to any of this. I believe I will be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes?
Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have at challenging Callihan. Don't be a fool. The lid comes off.
Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that is not the only thing I'm going to be throwing.
You're both acting like children. You need to put your differences aside and see the other's point of view.
Both Sophie and Torque glare at you. No powers, just their personas are enough to make you feel like you'd prefer to be anywhere else but here.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
There's only one child here, Eric.
You're the patron, Langley. What does that tell us?
What are you implying, you insolent? Shots break the front windows, and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out, bottles break, the TV shatters into pieces, the wooden bar splinters. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf because suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque beside you, and Marty, the bartender, bleeding out on the floor. You look over the bar. Sophie is standing there, her dress partially tattered, a visible hole in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful, and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there?
Yeah.
Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality?
Sure thing.
The Anarch is gone in the blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens the second, third. You hear the radios go off on the other soldiers' shoulders, a panicked voice pleading them to wake up. The 4th head pops, the 5th. They finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The 6th man is beheaded by what you now see is just Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque stops by the 7th man, rips something off his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over to the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle.
What the fuck?
Not thinking twice, you stand up and grab the soldier's head in your hands. Before he can react, you twist. The sickening sound of breaking bone is followed by the crumpling of his limp body. You see Torque holding a combat knife in his hand, ready to throw it. He catches your eye.
Beat me to it. Langley.
Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him.
That meeting's still an item.
Yes.
I'll take it.
Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the anarch open his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man.
Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming and she'll know what to do.
Torque?
Yeah, coming. Take the back door, Eric. Come on.
You slink back into an alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and one grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away casually, as if this was just another late-night drive and not the crowning of a desperate and complicated evening. Sophie brings you all to a luxurious apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a few trusted compatriots. It's been used sporadically since.
Fancy.
You like it? It always felt too modern for my taste. But what's important is that it's secure.
As long as nobody followed your car here, or the fledgling, trouble follows this one wherever they go.
Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway, and we'll be leaving soon, I hope. So let's begin.
Finally. I've been waiting for this.
You will hopefully understand why I kept you in the dark for so long, child. I have it on good authority that Boss Callihan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard. Torque sucks air in loudly.
That's an accusation and a half there, Langley. You got proof?
No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it.
What is that supposed to mean?
Eric, the address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhard's and Baron's regular sharing of blood. And other bodily fluids, if the rumors are true.
Wait, Kaiser knew about this?
Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in the city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the prince nor Callihan can touch him. He's too useful.
Aren't you afraid this is some kind of trap? Maybe they know we'll be coming because Kaiser told them?
I considered that this might be the case. If that's what happened, then it's already done. This was an ever-present risk. But if it hasn't stopped me thus far, it won't now.
I don't like that he's involved. But, then again, I've been in this city long enough to know he's usually involved in some way. What was the address he gave you?
They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around half an hour.
Hot damn. I'm guessing you want to crash that meeting. Why?
So you can see the proof for yourself. So that I can make sure too. And so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present to her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know, and the next prince might not look favorably on our past. Dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, as I'm sure you've heard.
So I did.
Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie.
What exactly are you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Panhard, and I even remove Callihan. Then what?
Torque, did you ever wonder why Callihan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visits to Elysium, but doesn't allow the Ivory Tower to challenge you. She, or they, have engineered this status quo not for the good of their sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line because it lets them hold on to power that much longer.
And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot? Not a great plan. You cammies will get your butts kicked out of NYC in no time.
If you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been years in the making. Torque, I'm offering you a chance to square things with Callihan and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start an equal footing at the next stage of this dance macabre.
Sophie, why am I here? I understand you needed me to set this meeting up, but why am I listening to all this?
It's a precaution. In a way, it's a shame this Mia you told me about did not make it in time to listen to this too.
I can still call her, but it'll probably be an hour before she gets here.
We can't wait that long. You'll have to suffice, Eric. I'm risking the prince's, or even Callihan's, wrath. While I don't think they would dare to lay a finger on me, another set of eyes to watch over the meeting can't hurt. And I did promise I would explain everything in time, didn't I?
You know, after all those years spent in Callihan's shadow and taking part in all kindred dick measuring contests, I should expect a ruse. Some ploy to kill me in an out-of-the-way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get this show started. I do hope you've had a boat nearby, Langley.
Sophie smiles mischievously. Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier.
Lead the way, then. Moonlight's burning.
The three of you leave the apartment and walk toward the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in New York where the Prince and the Baron could meet, it's Ellis Island, a landmark of the dark past, a museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance, a night guard, a helicopter flying overhead, or maybe an NYPD patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and subtly as ever, but you can see that she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over, still clearly uncertain if this is some kind of con. Finally, you see it. Light coming from a window in one of the buildings at the edge of the island. The three of you slowly creep closer to the building and take a look inside the window. There it is, Callihan, kneeling in front of the prince, sucking on Panhard's wrist, both fully clothed, a small blessing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he busts through the building's doors. It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callihan by the shoulders and throws him through the still open door. Callihan hits the ground hard. Torque appears on top of him and starts punching.
You fucker. You piece of shit.
Stop!
The prince's voice takes hold for just long enough to make Torque relent, which the Baron uses to the fullest. He shoves Torque off of himself and tries to bite down. Prince, call off your lapdog.
Langley, what is the meaning of this?
The two anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred.
Kill the bitch, Helen, but leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna...
A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to.
Oh, so entertaining, truly. Feels almost ashamed to break up this spectacle, but alas.
Thomas?
Who the fuck is this joker? Ah, yes, I don't think we met. Though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and I...
Callihan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss onto the lawn where the two exchange blows once again.
Helene, if you'd be so kind to ask your friend to not hurt our guest too much.
Callihan, don't kill him.
This time, Callihan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Your companion struggles, but can't quite break away.
I will not be denied, Helen. Not this time.
You will do as I command.
And she will do as I command her, Douglas, old boy.
What?
Like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for much too long. You think you're so smart, Langley. You and your clique figured out that there was something fishy going on all your own. But you were always working with just a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Eric?
Sophie looks to you, shocked and disappointed.
What are you?
What am I talking about, you ask? You, fledgling. You don't know? How could you? Only I knew. And your sire, of course. They're the ones who agreed to embrace you. After some negotiations.
You hear a scream and curse. It's Callihan, whose arm has been nearly ripped off his body. Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the attack. Instead, he's at the edge of the water in the blink of an eye and disappears into the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora.
Another actor going off script at the very end, eh? No matter. Let him bring us up some amusement now that the production is almost wrapped up.
You'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this.
Helene, even if we naively assume his nights aren't numbered, now that he's in the SI sights, the show must go on one way or another. Won't hurt to encourage leaks and speculation.
Sophie looks at you. How could you, Eric? I saved you. Arturo suddenly appears next to her and slaps her in the face.
Langley! What happened to your self-esteem? You can't really think a simple neonate has outplayed you Or maybe this oblivious act is your way of groveling for mercy?
Thomas, what?
You thought that being an expert chess player would always be enough. You never realized the people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going.
Emotions to the remaining kindred.
But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game you knew. Eric, just another pawn, placed on the board by my associate. You thought they were your piece since you took them in. But who gave you that idea?
You returned in the night where you were judged by Prince Panhard. The woman in red, Sophie. Somebody speaking to her. A man in glasses. The man standing before you now.
This is cruel. We know what's going to happen. If only somebody would speak up for the poor child. They could be a useful tool for the Camarilla.
Terror creeps onto Sophie's face.
Of course. Those are not the words you heard, were they? No, you were already grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out, and you took it. Hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before you started using Eric as your errand boy. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fledgling who's just learning the ropes.
What is it that you want, Thomas?
What do I want? Oh boy, the answer is so simple, but so hard to put into words. Unstable stability. Cutting edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push it to the limit, and then return you to the tried and tested status quo gently, infallibly. A system full of distractingly moving parts which simulate conflict so convincingly that its users never feel a need to direct their energy toward upsetting the systems. Achieving the eternal through the disposable. Building a city that's like a ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving the same goal at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that has something like an exhaust system for the spirit, something that disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it in a single place.
None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense. Arturo is momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face.
Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it in the big leagues.
With a theatrical snap of fingers, he gives his last sentence a sense of finality, something to change in the air. You could swear you saw a shadow move behind Sophie.
Goodbye, Sophie.
A person appears behind Sophie. You can't believe your eyes. It's Adelaide Davis, holding garden shears in her hands. You take off and rush towards Sophie. You only take a few steps before a figure blinks right next to you and pushes you away. Arturo. You hear the shears snip. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you.
Oh, Eric, your career is moving at a breakneck pace. Moving up and up and up. Let me congratulate you on your promotion.
What do you want from me?
What's the rush? I was about to get to that. Helene, feel free to leave us and take the Baron with you.
Thomas, I don't think you should.
Shush! You're just being jealous. Adelaide, escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please.
Sure thing, darling.
You are left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes.
Congratulations, you've won this little game. You set out on a suicide mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now you're free to enjoy paradise again, life after death, and immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you is, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful, where not everyone can partake. But you have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you?
He takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him, the Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance.
You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My own life began right here, and it began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation, but it never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous, intellectual suffering. But the more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship. The characters' influence over each other, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate. And once I saw its beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine. Give it my input.
Thomas steps over what's... you can finish the Thomas
Yeah,
line.
sorry, you can finish that.
Yeah, it's from give it my input.
Oh, I'm trying to read it. Where is it? Give it my input wherever needed until it trusted me to do more.
Thomas steps over what's left of Sophie, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket.
And it did. Fate let me look after this city. With my architect's tools, I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors, while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information flow. And among many tools this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents, like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the route was there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rulebook passages, the others plan city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows.
He puts on the glasses and gives you a long, hard look.
You know, I have grown fond of you. You did so well. Even when that idiot, Callihan, tipped the Inquisition off, you still got out. I like that kind of resourcefulness. I could use that kind of resourcefulness.
He uncovers his wrist.
So take my blood, just enough, so we can start off on the right foot as a sign of good faith. A sign that you're ready to play in the big leagues, ready to behold the sights I've prepared for you. What do you say, Eric? The end.
I mean, I
Wait,
guess that
That's
is
it?
That was
A damned
that was
if you
abrupt.
do, damned if you don't kind of situation.
Yeah, it didn't really end so much as it just stopped.
If you read the Steam reviews, the game, a lot of people say the ending's pretty bad. So I'm not too surprised with this.
Is that why
I
the
mean-
sequel's there for like shadows or whatever
the
to
sequel
pick up
doesn't
where it
address
left
this
off?
at all. It follows a different character.
I think they could have
Oh,
kind of eased into the ending there, but I mean, I get it. You're not going to be able to deny him. He's just going to kill you. if you do,
yeah. I don't know
so-
what happened to like half the characters we met. Like
I mean,
Kadir,
some-
Larson, Hope.
Basically doesn't
Yeah,
show
fucking
where the
Kadir!
guns
And
were.
now,
Yeah. Talk is like in the river.
Standing there like,
aspect three.
guys, I'm here.
he's in the river without his fedora.
Yeah, just hanging out.
So I guess this guy just took over.
Yeah, he kind of just appeared as well. Like, you really saw him like twice throughout the whole game, and then it sounds like he's behind
was-
everything.
Yeah, he's the puppet master.
Yes, he is the puppet master.
You see like that wrestling meme with Vince McMahon. It's me, Austin.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch!
It was me, Austin.
JR saying son of a bitch was the best part of that meme. Just no,
JR
yeah,
was
that,
great.
his reaction summed up. Oh, JR is a legend. I love JR so much.
I didn't realize you're watching wrestling. Duck.
That really is the end. All right.
What's that?
I didn't realize you watched wrestling.
Oh, back in the day I did, like
Yeah,
in the early
I've-
90s, late 2000s. Not so much anymore.
A lot of
Although-
us had experience